The July 13th, 2022 meeting of the Ware Conservation Commission. And we've got a couple, we have guests here for a couple issues tonight. And I would like to go ahead and take Tom Carr front and center to address what you have for the commission.
It's okay over here. Make sure you can see I don't block me on.
Do we have copies of that?
Mr. Chairman,
This one, no. Tom will pass mine.
members of the commission, I'm Tom Carr from Meridian. I'm here tonight for two reasons. First of all, we have a expedited dredge and fill permit for a septic force main to cross wetland, which also triggers a zoning variance. The zoning variance application has been submitted and will be heard on the 2nd. So I'm glad, thank you very much for letting me come tonight. I talked to Naomi about it last Thursday, so it was fairly short notice. The other thing is the expedited wetlands permit, and I'm gonna pass that out now so you all have a copy to look at.
Thank you.
So this is a great case of two abutters working together to get a septic system away from Lake Horace. The applicant is Neil and Barbara McQuaid, and the property owner is James Spring. The Springs live on this property here, and the McQuaids own this property here, which you say owned by Sam Crocker. I'm gonna jump back to 2002. This is a subdivision plan that was done by Dahlberg, and it was a cooperative effort between the Moores, the Pompers, and the Springs to subdivide this lot here so that people could get their septic systems away from the lake. Now, the McQuaid's lot was not part of that deal, and the McQuaids and the Springs have become good friends, and the Springs have said, we'll let you put your septic system on our property. You pay for all the efforts and the easements and the lawyers and whatever, and you can do it. So that's what we're here for tonight. The green line represents the Springs septic system, which was done in 2002, shortly after this plan. And they also received a wetlands permit to cross that wetland in the exact same spot, cut and fill. And what we're planning on doing with the McQuaids is to follow that exact same trail and put their force main directly adjacent to theirs. There's already, it's already a trail wide enough for a mini excavator to go through and lay that new pipe right next to the other one, cross in the same spot, cover it, and stabilize it. So this is the detailed plan that's been submitted with the zoning application, and which is part of the septic system, wetlands permit application. We have 200 square feet of temporary wetland impact across, which is the blue shaded area, or the heavier stippled area on your plan, and then the green area follows that trail where the existing force main, and that's area within the buffer, and that's 553 square feet of buffer impact, but again, it's along the exact same trail as the existing force main that was put in. The application is pretty straightforward. There's no NHB issues with the property, surrounding areas. Everything's turned up clean. We've done our NHDHR that's been submitted today for their review of the property at the state. Butters have been notified for the wetlands permit, and I'm assuming shortly, if not already, they've been notified for the zoning hearing, which will be on the 2nd. It's pretty straightforward application. I don't know if I need to talk much more about this. I think I'll stop and let the commission ask any questions if they have them.
Tom, is there any new disturbance?
It's not within the wetland or the wetland buffer. It's following the exact same trail as the existing forest main for the springs. So it'll be, I guess you'd
There'll be
call it-
ground disturbance, but the ground is on prior fill, so
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not even fill. It was a cut and fill. So
Oh,
roughly
okay.
speaking, the ground is the same as it was before the springs put their leach field, or their force main in. So again, it's totally temporary. There's no permanent impacts. It'll be, loamed and seeded. Areas outside of the wetland will be, treated with untreated bark mulch or something to stabilize it. So the orange line represents the edge of the wetlands. So you can see where it is crossing at the narrowest spot to get across there.
This might be, go ahead.
Just a note about the abutters. We notified all of the abutters that might possibly need to know about this. Woodfern's a private road, so with the Wetlands Bureau's regulations, if it's a town road, you do not notify abutters across a town road, but if it's a private road, you do. So, and when I talked to Naomi about the zoning and notifying the abutters for the zoning board, she agreed, just notify everybody, because for $10 on a butter, it doesn't make sense to not notify them. So everybody across the road has been notified also.
If this is outside your purview, feel free to say so, but if this approach was not approved, never mind, not approved just overall by the Wetlands Bureau,
Yeah.
what would the alternative be for the?
The alternative would be, and I'm sorry I don't have the septic plan, it's not ready
Just
yet.
in general concepts.
So, yeah, so the well, if we go back to this plan here, this again is McQuaid's lot. There's a well right here. So we did get a septic system approved on this lot years ago for Sam Proctor as a failed system with all kinds of waivers, and the state approved it, but it was like 23 feet from the neighbor's well. The other thing about these lots, and of course the lake, these are small lots, and I think the whole objective between this subdivision, between those three property owners that worked together to do this, was they recognized that although the septic systems may meet the 75-foot setback to the lake, when they're 100 feet apart all the way down the lake, they start impacting the water quality, and you just can't avoid that. So the alternative would be to put that septic system on the lot within at least 2 well radiuses, and being a contributing factor to water quality in the lake. So the objective is get it away, have more buildable space on the lot, and just make it a better environmental situation.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow 100%. Is a lot already developed, and this is a
Yeah,
replacement septic?
there's a house on it,
Yeah.
but the McQuaids are going to redevelop that lot and tear it down. It's an old house on stilts, and part of the reason,
So it's a bigger improvement project on
it
the
is,
lot?
yes. So
Yeah.
we're working on getting the house finalized, then we'll be finishing the shoreland permit and the septic system design. But we can't get the septic system design without all of the state approvals and the variance. So that comes last.
Yeah, sometimes the small packages have lots of parts
They do.
to find your way through it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Steve.
Did something happen with the tax map and lot number?
Yeah, they did. So if you look at this plan right here, Steve, it says they named these lots the same as the lot that was gonna benefit for it.
Yeah.
And I think probably what happened when they finalized the plan, the assessor said, we can't have 2 lots separated by a road, which is its own lot, and have those lots the same number. So rather than number them the same, they're now numbered 41.7, 41.5, 41.3.
Yeah.
So they had to give them separate numbers because they're not adjacent, not connected.
But Dahlberg's plan got in the registry of deeds though, even with the wrong numbers on it, is that what happened? Okay. Yeah, it's a little confusing, just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
And just for the record, Tom, the specific request of the Conservation Commission for tonight relative to the wetland permitting is,
Right, so this is an expedited, minimum impact expedited permit application, so what we would need from the Conservation Commission to keep it in that category would be a signature on the application. If you don't sign it, we can still submit it, but it would go in as a standard application, which is a 70-day review period. And it seems to us like it's pretty straightforward, nice expedited permit. So that's where we're going with it. So if the commission doesn't have any objections tonight, I would request that we get it signed, and then I still have to go see the Piscataqua River,
local advisory.
yeah, LAC. I have to go see them and have them sign it too, or it won't go into expedited also. So that would be our next step.
Hoops and hoops and hoops, yeah.
Hoops and hoops, yep.
Got a question on the standard for the silt sock. I just, I was looking at, because we were just looking at those for work, and Colorado DOT actually has the stakes going through the sock instead of over it like that
We only put the stakes through the sock at the joints.
at the joints.
Otherwise, they go behind the sock, opposite the flow. What happens is we found if we drive the stake through the sock,
Yeah.
it damages the fabric, which is okay. But the sock can actually roll out of the ground
Huh.
when it's like that. But if you put the stake behind it, there's no way the sock can move. So we've proved that. The original spec was to put the stakes through the sock. We don't do that.
Interesting, the force on the sock
The
can actually
force on the
torque
sock can roll
torque
it
the
out.
stake more
If
if
you put the
it's,
stake behind it,
Sure.
it's impossible to roll it
you're
out.
more of a bend.
And the only reason we put a stake through the joint is to keep the joint together. But not everybody does that. A lot of the standard specs are, they want you to overlap the sock 18 inches, so you're losing 3 feet of sock at $4 a foot. Over a 1,000-foot run, that's a lot of sock. So a few years ago, we came up with a new method where we undo one end, we untie one end of the sock, slip it over the previous one, becomes a continuous sock that way, and there's no gap in between, and you put your stake right there, it keeps everything together, but everything else gets staked behind the sock
Right, well, you're just relying on that stake to hold.
to hold the joints
socks
together.
From
Yeah.
pulling endwise apart.
And
yeah.
depending on how steep the slope is, determines how close together we put the stakes behind it. If it's fairly flat, we won't put any more than 20 feet. If it's really steep, we've done some as close as 2 feet apart to keep it on the slope. And what irks me the most is engineers confuse sock for wattle. So a lot of times I'll see a spec for sock, but everything describes a wattle or vice versa. And it has to be known that a wattle technically has to be trenched in about 4 inches deep. And then the stakes, they're cross stake wattles, just like this picture. So this picture shows how to do a wattle, and the spec calls for a sock. So I have to correct the engineers all the time on this, on job sites and stuff, because that's not how it's done. Sock lays on top of the ground, wattle supposed to be trenched in, and I have never in my life seen a wattle trenched in. Nobody does it right. But wattles weigh nothing, they're like a feather. That's why you have to cross stake them. Socks are very heavy, they don't float, they don't move. They actually conform to the ground, and just the sheer weight of them keeps them there. There's no need to cross stake a sock.
That's why I like them.
But you have to cross stake a wattle. So that's how that goes.
Thank you, Ray, I'll correct that.
Oh, you're writing it down?
I am, yeah, because that's a detail we've had since these came out.
Yeah.
And I don't know who made it, but we've used this, because we prefer this over everything. The
Yes.
silt sock is way better than anything you can put out there. Silt fence like
Yeah.
you say, it doesn't get put in correctly
Yeah.
ever.
Now, another idea you might want to take note of, and we've been doing this, and DES is very happy with it. We came out with this thing 2 years ago. We were doing a lot of silt fence on shore fronts. As you know, in a wet area, all the roots grow on top of the ground.
Right,
And we go through there with a trencher to put in a silt fence. We're digging up all the roots, damaging all the trees, digging up mud, and putting in a silt fence. Well, that's counterproductive. The silt fence is supposed to keep the, so what we've been doing last 2-3 years around Winnipesaukee and Sunapee is we'll put the silt fence in. Now, the way we do it, we don't buy pre-made silt fence. So we put all the stakes in 5 to 6 feet apart where we want the silt fence to go. We put the silt fence on and leave a 1-foot flap uphill on top of the ground.
yep,
We staple it to the stakes, and then we take an 8-inch sock. We can use a 12, but an 8-inch works good.
Yeah.
8-inch sock goes right on top of that
top
flap.
of that.
And so what happens is you get the benefit of the, cleaning the brown water with the sock, but you also have the silt fence to back it up in case the silt overruns it.
Right, that's good,
And then that acts, a lot, you know how a lot of people like to run over sock because it's only like this high?
right,
The silt fence keeps you away from that. And so that works well. We haven't seen any water or erosion go underneath it, because that was a question that came up originally. It doesn't happen. And you have to put your stakes close enough with the silt fence, 5 to 6 feet apart, so that if there's a lot of pressure against it, that flap with the sock doesn't allow it to blow out.
right.
If you space your stakes too much, you could get a blowout.
Yep.
So, and we've been doing that for a few years very successfully. We call it our sock silt fence combination, and it's worked excellent. And then when it comes time to take it out, you never know it was there.
Right,
So I've seen a couple of engineers put it on their plans up north around the Lakes region now. It's not their idea, but that's okay. I'm not an engineer, so I can't put a stamp on it.
it's gotta come from somebody.
yeah.
An expert, and that's
So
you,
that's where we did that, and so that's good.
that's good, thank you, appreciate that.
Got another quick one. So on the Army Corps of Engineers checklist, you got, you said there's already a main going through there, right?
Right,
So didn't that have to be bedded in like a, I mean, that technically is a fill. You got 0 feet of pre-existing fill and you got 0
Right.
feet for new fill. Even though that's just a pipe, it's a fill, so it can't be 0.
I would disagree with that, because fill would be at the surface, this is a buried pipe, so it's a cut and fill with no additional, there's no additional surface material placed.
You don't think there's some bedding that was put in there?
Well, it's embedded, the pipe's underground.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's
and,
pu- But it's put back in its natural state, so there's no change in the surface topography.
yeah, not surface. I mean, you're filling wetland if you bring in sand in there to bed the culvert that the, you know, the main.
Yeah, but it's not the same, Steve. It's, a cut and fill is not the same as a fill in wetland. So it means cut, take out the soil and
Okay.
then put it back in the same spot, compact it, and exists as it did before the impact. So it's a temporary impact.
So you're
or
saying
a-
there's no change in topography? There's
Right.
no
So it's
mounding it up
considered
3
a
feet?
temporary impact, not a permanent impact.
But when you look at the substrate, you put, a different substrate in there than what was in the wetland to bed the
I
actual.
understand your point.
Bed it with sand
I
and,
disagree with that as a fill in wetland.
It'd be interesting.
We've
to get
never,
some-
ever called a cut and fill a fill. I mean,
I thought anything you stick in a wetland is a fill, from a legal perspective.
I always thought if it was changing the topography, but not
Because you
digging
can
a
screw the-
trench and filling it back in is not filling it
Well, I
back.
mean, let's
Change
take
the
it to the
hydrology.
extreme. You couldn't dig out the wetland soil, put in sand, so now you've got or even rock. So now you have a solid surface to drive on where previously you had mud. Wouldn't that be something where you couldn't find it on a topographic map, but now you've changed purposefully the material of the wetland? In this case, there's no
Does that
intention
change
to
that?
change the soil of wetlands, just to get under it.
that's right.
But that's if you took it to an extreme.
Well, that's
So-
where
Yeah,
you
but
can,
we
you
don't,
can
I don't
see.
take things to an extreme.
Excellent.
I take things to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to analyze it where, what harm is it doing? That's the first thing I look at.
Steve brings up an interesting point. I disagree with it. A lawyer might take Steve's side on that. We've never called it a fill. It's a cut and fill, and we've always said zero
Yeah.
fill impact for a cut and fill.
I know from experience, as you know. You can take fill out of a wet area and put anything back in that wet area, and it will always be a wet area when you try to drive on it, and you'll get stuck there. It's not solid, this thing, is it?
No, it's just,
No,
it's
it's
just
just put
till.
back.
It's till with, you know,
What was there got put back to
Hydric
bury
soil.
the pipe.
Yeah, that's not really what I was, I was just going towards the legal definition of a fill,
Yeah.
which would take a lawyer to answer this,
Right.
and then
right.
you can
Now, if
probably
you
do
were
a
trying
court
to put
case
a
over it.
gravel road through here and not change the topography, but now it's a gravel road, I agree 100%. You've changed
Right, that's a
the nature of the wetland.
But now you've taken it to the extreme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
See, there is a reason to take it there. Because
Yeah.
there could be a situation
There
where you're
could be a
not
situation.
changing the topography,
Right.
but you're changing the function of a wetland.
Yes, you're filling it
because
with
you're
rock and
changing the
making it
material
solid.
that-
That's key,
Yeah.
Andy. You'd be changing the functions of the wetland in that area, because it would no longer be a hydric soil on the top. It would be a rip-rap,
Right,
drivable road that's
Road.
still wet.
yeah.
I don't have like a real good handle on the amount of what it takes to get a force main through there, but, I'm telling you, if you dig out 3 feet, put in a bunch of bedding material, put a pipe in, cover it over with a bunch more material, you've changed it, and that is a fill.
Yeah.
But I don't care, because I just didn't want you to get a mistake kicked back. It's not
If
really
they-
relevant
If
to
they
us.
kick it back, Steve, that'll.
Be the first, you're saying.
It'll be the first time, and I'll let you know. You were right.
Who knows if anybody even would catch that, but
Now, the second part of what you're doing here, or I guess more so at zoning, is regarding the 25-foot buffer. Is that correct, or is there
Well,
another element
The
that?
funny thing is, Andy, and I wanted to ask you guys about this, the zoning ordinance directly addresses wetland impacts. It doesn't talk about the buffer. So it's unclear what to do with a buffer impact, because and I think I've asked you this question about before, what do you do about all these shoreland permits that go on Lake Horace when they're doing, like in this case,
Yeah.
we got a house that's 7 feet from the edge of the bank. Now, we're gonna move that back away from the lake, and we're gonna rotate it out of the sideline setback, so we're gonna now be conforming with 3 of the setbacks on the lot, where now previously it's only conforming with 2, and we're making the lakeside more nearly conforming, but it's house, lawn, a few scattered trees, a walkway to the dock. There's really no buffer there.
pre-existing though, Tom.
Right.
If it pre-existed the ordinance, it's all set. You don't even have
Yeah.
to think about it.
So then you're just making a potential improvement.
Yeah, it's gonna be further from the shoreland regulations are pretty strict about, if you're in the 50-foot buffer, you can restructure that house, but you have to move it further from the resource. It doesn't say how much, but in our
It's
case.
amazing what a few feet and a chance to naturalize some of the roots and the landscape can do on the edge of a water
We're gonna be
body.
doing some replanting on the lot too,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, if you get a case where you're no longer having mowed within a foot of the water body and you're 6 foot back, well, that can affect a change, especially if you're heavily fertilizing the grass or something like that.
Don't forget, there should be a 10-foot wide stream there, and none of that.
Improvement. We're
Yeah.
gonna welcome improvement. The fact of the matter is, plants love nutrients, and they don't really like to leave a lot behind if it's something they could use to grow. Any further questions for Tom?
Still going through it. What's the EMMIT search map?
Emmett is the, is the precursor search we do for the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources.
Wow.
So it's an online tool that you outline the site, and it actually does the search for you, but you still have to send in the RPR form to them with the Emmett data and say, your online data says there's nothing there, but here you go. We send them a copy of the plan, a USGS map, pictures of the site, and they look further into it to see if there might be archaeological concerns or something that are undocumented, and then send the letter back and say, you know, we need more information, or you're good to go, or could do a phase 1 archaeological study or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's kind of like the NHB review, but if we get a clean on the NHB, we don't have to send anything back to them.
Mhm.
If we do, then we have to go to Fish and Game.
Yep.
Tom, where are the septics on those other lots that are on that road? Are they on each lot?
You know, I don't know, Ray. I believe that, I know that, Moore, and I don't actually know who owns this now. It might still be Moore, but their leach field is up here. And I don't know if the leach field for this lot is over here or not, but I do know that their leach field is somewhere over here, because I've seen it.
Actually kind of shocked there's not an NHB hit in that area. With the marsh on the other side right there. Huh.
We might have, usually, Steve, we do get, particularly with the shoreline permits, they ask us, we do a preliminary one, and they say, send us some more information. I didn't do this, one of my assistants did, and most of the times when we're close to the lake like this, they want us to send in some more information so they can do an in-house review of it, and that might have been the case with this. So although I'm saying, no NHB hits, I strongly suspect that that was done with more information about, that we provided to Concord.
Mhm. So what about the change in IPAC to Small World Begonia? Because this is a 404 permit. How did you not get picked up on that? But NHB is not up to date with IPAC. Fish and Wildlife changed the polygon for Small World Begonia, which is forcing a bunch of survey work.
Okay.
Wow.
The DES may ask us for that, Steve, because
Yeah.
we've had them ask that for us lately on a lot of permits.
You did? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Because
So-
what's the date on the NHB?
it's a month, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, it's pretty recent.
But since the IPAC changed, maybe, I don't know, maybe that wasn't in that polygon. That's been literally a horror show.
Yeah, I know, like I said, we've been out on, Taylor Haynes is ours, we have a new wildlife biologist that works for us. She just got her master's degree and she does all of that, so
Hmm.
if I get the request, I say, here, go, do your thing. Of course, it's hard, you know, sometimes out of season, like vernal pools, you know.
Yeah, you're okay right now for Small World Begonia.
Yeah.
It's June to mid-September.
Yeah. So actually, it's a good, ideal time to get this thing in, so if they ask us, we can actually find them.
What if they do find it? Then what?
Federal endangered species, I don't know with a federal permit. if
So
that's-
what we generally have to do is document the location
Yeah.
of it. We've had to do this with meadow garlic, where you have to go out and locate the stuff and document its location. And if it's in your path and you can avoid it, you have to avoid it. If it's not in your path, then you have to just document where it is and put notes on the plan about, and, you know, pictures of what it looks like, and make sure that nobody disturbs it.
Takes all the fun out of being a dirt contractor, don't it?
There's more and more to do every year.
That's all good though, just all more work, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, environmentally speaking, I mean, you guys know, I am at heart an environmentalist. I don't do this because I want to pave the world. And there's a lot of good behind these rules.
We have a motion on authorizing chair to sign.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? There being none, all in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? I think we're all in favor.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time tonight. I don't know, how do you get, what's the procedure in letting the zoning board know? I mean, I can tell them you approved the permit, but
I don't know that our piece of it
not as much.
matters much as zoning at all.
It's interesting, because it says in the zoning ordinance that you see the Conservation Commission and get their input. And I think
That's great, yeah.
What are you doing with zoning though? You've already got it going through there.
Yeah.
So it's pre-existing in the
It's-
same,
It's pre-existing, but we have to do it again. So it's a different force main,
but in the same location.
same location.
Pass them down, folks. If you
I
can
don't think
open
you
it
do
to the
have to.
signature page, that would be helpful.
I would ask, I mean, someone's gonna make a decision on that, but that
Open up
doesn't
to the
sound
signature
right.
page and pass along.
Now, I don't,
Is the buffer disturbed already where that's going through?
6 or 7.
You can see it?
yeah, there's a trail.
That's pre-existing. You shouldn't have to, if you're in the, I mean, the idea of the buffer is to protect the buffer. If the buffer's already disturbed from the pre-existing,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
Main.
Steve, you know, this was done in 2002.
beginning.
So if it was done
Send it down, Ray.
in the last couple of years, I would probably agree with you. But it is completely established itself as, I mean, if you walked out there and didn't know,
oh, it wasn't kept open.
well, yeah, it's still open because of remnants, but the branches are in, you know, I mean, they're gonna have to do some trimming to get through there with a small excavator. Now, if they use a ditch witch, they might be able to walk it and do it with way less impact than we're proposing here.
The trimming wouldn't do, I mean, so like literally where the thing is going is where your buffer disturbance issue is, so if you just trim above ground,
Well, we've already gone through the whole exercise in the application submitted, so I'm gonna go.
you should have asked for, maybe ask for opinion. I don't know who can make that decision. I guess Naomi would.
No, I don't make that.
That's an interesting one though.
Yeah.
I don't
it
think-
is.
I don't think it needs to go. Having,
We'll go, and if, whatever, it's all said and done at this point, it's another hour of my time.
it's a quick ZBA meeting.
It
Kind
should
of
be.
We already dragged you on for like, God,
I don't get to come
40
see you
minutes.
that much, which is probably a good thing, but I do like seeing you.
Oh, you can retire someday and come on back.
Well, next year, I'm done. I am not gonna continue on, next year, and as much as I think they would like me to stay,
I thought that you said that this was the year.
well.
I wasn't gonna say that,
The
Steve.
thing is, I can't walk out, you know, there's just way too many people that rely on me and clients, and it would be kinda hard on the company to just all of a sudden disappear. So, I mean, Steve, I stopped taking jobs in January, I'm still working on them, you know, so, did we get all of these, Amy? I just double checking.
I thought you were part owner of the Meridian.
I sold the shares back July
Oh.
1st, so
So you're making your moves.
I'm an employee.
Okay.
I'm liking it.
Very good. Thank you, Tom.
I'm back to the way I was when I first met you, Ray.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
you're welcome.
All right, as is our tradition, if you're a guest, you come on up and talk to us. So, folks, you have a project to discuss with us or a request of some sort. We assume we know nothing. You guys present your project.
We don't know that. We don't know. I guess we're here because, well. what is-
Come on up to the podium, please.
I'll
Just introduce yourself, introduce your
Yeah.
team. That
So, my name is Michael Colburn, the owner of Lakeview Drive, and Highland Farms, which is managed by Richard Kaiser. Dick purchased 2 lots on Lakeview Drive, which were 2 lots that were purchased from my grandfather, my father's father, back in the 60s, and they came up for sale. Dick purchased the lots, and so we've gone to the zoning board, because it's on a private road, to get building permits, which we've done. I guess it's my understanding that we have to now come before all the boards to get your blessing in order to get that building permit from Romeo. So we've met with Romeo, we in fact met this morning with him, and he seems to be happy with everything we have. We have 2 permits for each lot for septic design. The building plans, he's happy with the buildings that we're building. So I believe I think that's why we're here, just to sort of present that to you and get your approval so we can move on to the next, I believe, the planning board. I know Naomi can probably confirm
Yeah,
that.
so we met with Laura back a while ago, because this whole building on class 6 and private roads is kind of really a runaway train at the moment. So we had town council come in and we had a meeting, and she put together a flow chart, and if you're on a private class 6 road, you go to ZBA, but you also, according to 67441, you have to get review and comment from planning, conservation, and the selectmen. So while Romeo has 30 days to issue the permit, in that 30-day window is when we're trying to hit all the boards. Now, by the time his 30-day window is up, you guys don't meet again, that's why he's here. The top plan is a plan that was presented to, I believe the ZBA at the time, indicating and showing the wet areas.
Yes, you should have 2 septic designs in front of you, one for lot 31 and one for lot 32. Lakeview Drive, like Naomi said, is a private road. I have a business on that road. We have over 50 homes on that road. These 2 lots are maybe 300 feet off Reservoir Drive. So, yeah, I mean, we've gotten ZBA. Like I said, we met with Romeo this morning. He's happy. He was supposed to write a letter this morning and give it to you, so you knew that. But obviously,
Well, I don't know how he thought he would do that, because his day is,
yeah.
he's out, he's back.
We just listened to what he said, that's all. That's what
Yeah,
he said this
yeah,
morning.
I don't know why he would.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we know that he's given us his blessing on the 2 lots.
And the septic designs were drawn recently?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, one was approved, I think, back in February, and the other one was approved just a couple months ago. They're both, one's like close to an acre, and the other one's like 3/4 of an acre. And that's most of the lots on Lakeview Drive. They're all about an acre.
And this doesn't affect any of the butters.
I mean, no, I mean, there's certainly, they could be here. I don't see them.
Well, there's no agenda,
Oh,
there was no agenda posted.
oh.
Who are the abutters to this?
There's a couple of abutters for it. There's my sister, Jill Colburn,
Yeah,
which the folks live right there at the farm.
yeah.
And then Mike, I don't know Mike's name, it's after lot 32, the new couple that bought that house a couple years ago. The Harrises live across the street, and I don't know. You probably have more information there than I have. But I know they were there for the zoning board and all of those meetings. And, yeah.
You guys will recall that there was a complaint by the Harrises, or Mrs. Harris, back in, I think you.
Oh, that's right, you met on this, yeah, a couple months ago. That's right.
There was concern about the 25-foot wetland buffer.
So the buffer's not shown on any of these plans for some reason?
Yeah, there's no buffer here.
We actually,
Should be.
Not there.
Not there?
Do you guys have a different plan? Those are the ones Mary Ann gave me.
I don't know if that'd be rural. You got that?
there's the wetland area, it doesn't show the 25-foot buffer.
Just the one with the stamp approved from the state, yeah. I mean, what lot's that, is that 31 or 32, yeah.
So
So
what-
this is 31, is that 31 also? And that-
This one's 32, this one's 31.
31.
and what's the date that the state stamped it down in that corner?
There's
Four
we need to do a revision.
428.
Yep, so that's the most recent one. And then that one probably is back in February?
February 4th.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the right one.
There's nothing indicated on this as a buffer, wetland buffer.
Art Siciliano hired a wetland scientist on request from Kevin Cahill to, that's from lot 31, right? Yeah. So that's all been done, it's all been approved by the state.
So that's why
I mean, it meets all the
only lot
setbacks.
31 has the wetland stamp because the same did not work on lot 32?
correct.
Okay.
So for showing wetlands, I mean, this one's missing a stamp then,
No, it's got a stamp on it.
30,
They both do.
no?
well,
Unless
that's
he's
what,
using the exemption.
It's right there,
Where?
right on her finger.
that's the designer, that's not the
Designer.
wetland delineator.
Approved.
I think that's the one right
No. it's-
Water
it's over
division.
So what we're talking about is this one here.
Right.
there. It's
So the
missing.
question is, how are these wetlands delineated on lot 32? We know that where the delineation came from on lot 31, but where did this, who made this line? Somebody created this line.
Right.
We have a hand up behind you, so hold on a second. If you would like to.
So just, again, Tom Carr from Marine Land Services. I was the wetland scientist that Art
Yep.
hired to flag the wetlands on that lot.
Jesus.
So I flagged them, he had them survey located, and that's what you're seeing on that plan.
Both
So,
lots.
You didn't stamp this one.
Yeah, whatever, what I can tell you is I flagged the wetlands on, he had me reflag the wetlands on both lots.
Okay.
And, they were substantially close, but a little bit different. And what you should be seeing on there is the delineation that I did. So,
So are you gonna stamp this?
That's, well,
I can, but the designer, under the current state of New Hampshire wetland rules, the designer has the authority to stamp the plan with the wetlands on it, and take responsibility for that delineation. So it's not required by statute that I stamp those plans, as long as the septic designer has his stamp on the plans. It doesn't, if he cites my name as wetlands were delineated by Tom Carr, certified wetland scientist, then I have to stamp that plan.
But I thought they have to have a note with the exemption on the plan if they're doing it that way.
No, they don't.
No, you can just,
No,
okay.
no.
so the only curiosity, Tom, is we have that note for one of the lots. We don't have that note on the plan for the other lot. So,
I can't answer to that, Andy. What I can tell you is, I'm the wetland scientist that flagged the lots following the complaint, and I know that Art had located them,
yeah.
so.
And the only thing is,
That'll be a question
going
for-
forward, if somebody's just going back to the plan for lot 32, they won't know that. If you just go off the plan, you don't have that
I
knowledge.
see the notes. so this one's got,
This has got your stamp.
okay. I don't,
So that would be a comment based on our review that we'd share.
I mean, can we get one?
he'd have to put that note on it,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to stamp it, but without that note.
We could easily call Art.
Yeah.
Put it on
It seems like it, from what I'm hearing tonight, it can be resolved.
mean,
I don't
we're looking
know
at
about where the
easier.
stamp, you're fortunate in that regard, for sure, yeah.
And that is a miracle.
Hey, it's a miracle that any of us are here tonight, so.
We're just trying to
Any-
work through all the different departments, because we have a planning board, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then Monday night, we have a selection. And again, not knowing all the processes, obviously you can see that we've taken the time to do the extra steps to make it correct. Which set back this project months to do it correctly.
Right, and you can appreciate that we have a number of things we look for a standard, on any, design or plan that comes in front of us. There's a standard number of things that we look for. If we see them, check, no problem. If we don't, we just flag them and share that with you. And thankfully, you're here to hear that directly from us. Oftentimes, plans come in, all these other plans, we don't have anybody talking to them.
Sure.
So we end up making notes and passing the notes along to planning board. And our role here is just purely advisory to other authorities. We're not the authority on approval here. We're just a reviewer along the way to hopefully add some value or notice when something is a little different than what our expectations are.
Should they add the buffer in on that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's no buffer on this one really either. This just
Right.
shows the top end of that
Oh, I knew we hired
thing for this other lot.
We didn't know
See?
we paid.
Here's the top of it. But this doesn't show buffer either.
Exactly.
Well, it's not on the property, so if it's 25 feet out, they wouldn't really need it, but that one there needs it right there, that polygon.
This one.
Yeah, the other one may or may not,
I don't know, because I don't know that
if it's
there's no,
25 feet or so.
well, I don't know if it's 25.
Well, you got the building setback. What's the building setback, 50?
50.
Yeah, so half of that,
That's probably,
or,
Oh, it's 50 from what? 30 from the front.
well, that doesn't show it for sure.
Yeah,
So that needs to be fixed too.
so, point of order here, Naomi,
This wetland,
where should
there's
our
no buffer
comments go
showing
in
it.
this process? Who do they go to?
It appears to be 25 feet or more.
Does the selectmen?
Ultimately, the selectmen have to approve the construction on a Class 6?
Correct, so
Okay.
it's after review and comment from planning and conservation, do the selectmen make their determination?
So if they fix this thing in the next day or two, do they have to come back here to prove that it's fixed?
No.
No, but
No.
planning meets tomorrow night.
Oh, well, have to do it tomorrow.
Right, and that's something that honestly, we're not familiar with in this process either, so we want to make sure whatever we need to present to the committee is obviously done correctly.
If you
So we
guys,
appreciate it, if
if
anything,
you
you could
guys-
tell us what we
if
need.
you guys don't mind, I can call Art
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm
I can
on
call.
my way, because I
Yeah.
can go see my client, and I can tell him
Yeah,
what's going on.
what he has to
And
do.
then you guys work with him on
Yeah,
it
yeah.
as well.
Yes,
I'm leaving tomorrow for Lime Rock Park for the in-service, so I will not be able to see it until tomorrow for the game.
So we will call him immediately.
Yeah. He can go
Are
to
you
work
gonna call?
tonight.
Huh?
I'm gonna call him tonight just to
Okay.
make sure he understands,
I'll follow
the
up. What needs to
concerns.
be done, yeah.
because this is my business,
Right.
and I can get it to him
You could relay it to
straighter
him.
than you guys.
Yeah, you definitely can.
All right, anybody see anything else we want to provide as far as additional comment?
You got the wetland buffer down, both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Need that done.
I don't know, that was some
Yes,
sugar
the
from.
wetland buffer.
They, it sounds like they want.
what's the building setback to wetland, you remember?
He has that at, yeah.
I thought it was 50 feet,
Well, we need
maybe
to
it's
done.
more.
Yeah,
The wetland buffer?
No,
Building to wet, I think is 50, but I'm not certain on that.
I'm looking it up.
50 or 25?
I don't,
We can just pose that as a question.
oh, here, let me just look her up.
So the gist of it, guys, is we don't like to see buildings or disturbance unnecessarily put in a wetland. We just like to leave the wetlands alone, and ideally, that means stay 25 feet away from them. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do anything in a wetland. What sort of things don't qualify as disturbing? Well, taking down some of the trees. That happens all the time. That's legit. That was written into the local ordinance that controls that. This is a town ordinance on the 25-foot. The other things go beyond the town, but specific to where is the 25-foot buffer. And that goes back to when Tom used to sit at this table as a member of the Conservation Commission, and it's been, getting near 20 years now that's been on our books, so.
I think you'll appreciate that we really did go out of our way, because you saw a lot, that we left as many trees as we possibly could, and there was,
If, in not advising you to, but if you were to stick around tonight, you would also know that as a commission, we also harvest trees, and we're not, trying to impose undue restrictions. We understand that a building necessarily changes the landscape, but you guys are making the effort to show that you're trying to do it in a sensitive way and not a bullish, trash a place sort of get the max profit and run off somewhere else. This is your neighborhood, it's your backyard, so we appreciate that.
So if this was already cleared though, and the wetlands are kind of flagged afterwards, we don't really know if the buffer got violated. You don't have to answer that because you're not,
Well, I know that the logger did cross, and that was an issue with the complaint, but it wasn't egregious. It was, it wasn't like some crossings I've seen. It was just really an absolute disaster mess. These lots are legitimate, and the clearing is, like they said, it's pretty much what they need for development. It was a little unfortunate the logger went between the two lots and crossed over that one wetland, but under best management practices, and Steve knows this, the loggers can do that.
but they did put down a wood,
Yeah,
wood.
like I said.
They did put down the I'll call it wood mats.
Yeah, corduroy type effect.
Corduroy, yeah.
He actually brought in, some real big wood mats, so.
Crane
small
mats.
mats,
And we made sure that he did do that in that one spot, so.
What time of the year were they doing that? Was it during the winter months?
Shortly before I stamped the plan, whatever that was.
Yeah, back April.
Yeah, you did it the end of April.
Yeah.
4/28.
So we're missing the 50-foot setback lines.
On the houses.
Yeah,
Some
so
wetlands, so.
all
it just-
buildings shall be minimum 50 feet from any jurisdictional wetland boundary. So we're missing the 25-foot buffer, the 50-foot setback line for structures.
Stamp on
Yeah, and then do you have to show how many feet is it to a EDA? 75?
75 feet in winter.
Yeah,
For the state regulations, it would be 50.
What's
for
EDA?
poorly drained, but in
Effluent
winter,
disposal
the
area.
ordinance is 75.
75
so you
feet.
need the 75-foot line for the effluent disposal area shown.
You could put that if you wanted to, Steve, but there's no town regulation that requires that.
To show it?
I would agree that the building setback and the buffer should be shown on that plan, but it's not typical to show a 75-foot septic setback.
I thought it was on some of them.
It's on this one, so 75 feet of leach field.
Well, sometimes if we don't,
It's
Well,
on-
the common is, but
Yeah. Isn't it?
right, the note, both of them have a note to, wait a minute, I'll take that back.
Oh, it doesn't.
That one doesn't have
Folders,
it, the notes.
folders.
doesn't say anything about 75 feet from wetland, it's just surface water.
Oh, surface water within 75 feet. No well within 75 feet.
Yeah. Wetland's different, so it's not really on there.
No.
So whether you write it in text or, I mean, yeah, I don't know, do we have a scale kicking around here anywhere or no? My
Not
iPhone's
that I
really
know of.
working out.
Romeo did scale it today, just so everyone knows. Actually, he scaled it yesterday, too.
So that's 35 feet to there, yeah, so it's gotta be more than 75.
We can see it's 80, is what he had told us this morning, but.
Well, I guess the two major comments are just the two buffers. I mean, the setback and then the buffer.
Yeah. All right, I will write those comments up. And And Naomi, these are town plans of record at this point,
Yeah.
so. Ray, would you make sure we return these to Naomi? Yep. They're making the rounds, right? They'll be at planning board tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then,
All right.
on Monday, we have the select.
Selectmen's meeting Monday, yep.
And just so you guys know, you have one selectman here already.
And a planning board member.
Right.
So I'll see you twice, 2 more times.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good
You
night.
guys be well. Good luck.
You guys.
Bye,
Anybody want to take a break from plans? As far as the plans go, it looks like we've got 1, 2, now let me ask a question on, no, not this one. 1, 2, 3 to go. And I found one in the mailbox, Naomi, for 216 and 236 Colby from June. Has that already flown by the planning board?
That's continued to August.
That's
He's gonna
continued.
go to ZBA.
So
Before
that,
we-
so that's another one that is still open and
It's
subject.
continued to August 11th, so you could do that at your August meeting. Is your meeting before then?
Is that the one where they started clearing trees and cut in kind of a rough driveway? Is that,
No, it's a driveway that's shown down by the wetland. It's gonna go all the way around. And then they're gonna do a common driveway. This is showing just access. But the actual use is gonna be a common driveway. I wanna say the word skirt. I don't imagine those would be approved in one night. I can't imagine, I don't. It's a 3-lot and 2 2-lots.
So
oh,
we
the common
meet-
driveway?
I could send you probably PDFs if you want.
We meet August 10th.
Yes.
So the Colby one,
We can let go till,
The Colby one is the 11th is what they continue to.
okay,
And he's going on a ZBA like on August 10th.
yep.
It's up to you, you guys other stuff to do.
Any preference here whether keep rolling through plans or talk forestry?
do whatever, take a break, do forestry.
All right, let's keep going with plans. We've got subdivision plan for Randall Dearborn, 247 Old Francistown Road.
Andy, if you want, this, the fire department isn't gonna meet until anyway, right now. You I can scan them, I can send the,
On which one, the one I mentioned
One
prior?
that you're just looking at now, I'll write in it. Tell you what it is.
All right, so your recommendation,
I'm just saying the fire department hasn't looked at them either, so they aren't gonna approve them on July 28th, because the fire department doesn't meet till the second Monday.
I'm glad to pay, whatever it is, pay in August for a hamburger today, so.
So, August 8th would be when the four fireworks would look at them.
And then if we looked
And then
at
you
them a
guys
couple
meet the
days,
10th. So, if I send them to you electronic like we used to with Zoom,
yeah,
you guys can send them before your meeting on the 10th.
we can. All right, fold them up,
Save you a
boys,
little time.
Daryl. Yep. Let's,
Compromise?
yes, indeed, we will
I'll just
let
leave-
those ride along with the other one we just mentioned, so.
Yeah, those three I'll take back after. All of those there. Slide them off.
All right, so you will not take back the Colby Road one.
You can look at Colby Road only because that's already been through the process, but
All right, so maybe we'll just knock that on. All right, let go of it, see.
the rest of them I'll take back. Send you electronically.
That'll be fine. All right, back to tax map 412 lots 166 and 167. Lot line adjustment and subdivision plan. And we only have one copy of this, so
Yeah, that's all right.
crowd around, just not too close.
Not too close.
This is by Bedford Design Consultants. We have a wetland certification, Thomas Sokolowski, Sokolowski. We show fair bit of wetlands.
All them things are all little
All right.
wetland areas.
Chopper. Surveyed by Craig Francisco.
Must
The
be-
intent of this plan is to adjust the lot lines between lots 166 and 167 and to subdivide 166 into two. So I assume 166 is receiving additional acreage prior to subdivision.
Is that up on top of the hill when you first go in on Colby from River Road?
So,
There's a bunch of wood that's been cut.
no, it's across from the old, there's a big yellow house on the hill. In the pond.
All right, so there's River Road.
Isn't that the
You
one
go
Jim
up-
Dow? Didn't Jim Dow?
Jim Dow is one of the owners.
He's one of the owners.
Mm.
You go up Colby past Wortherly, past the brook, and it's on the left side.
Oh, it's beyond
So
Worthley?
the pond
Okay.
depicted is that big open wetland area
Oh, yeah,
where they already
Roughly,
put-
roughly halfway,
About halfway,
roughly in the middle
yeah.
of Colby.
Okay.
And that is what's shown here, okay. And the day I fished that, the fish weren't biting. That's too bad. On the go.
That's a confusing
Whoa.
plan.
Well, look at this, parcel A. Strip,
Why is parcel A looking like that?
strip,
multiple pages, yeah.
where's the boundary of parcel A? Where's the back? What am I missing?
Is that where that little cemetery is? Naomi? Is that right?
Well,
What-
it
There's a
says
little
there
cemetery
is
right
a
there across from that
cemetery
yellow
shown
house.
in this general location on
Yeah.
the 1858 Town of Ware map. It is not shown on the 1892 Town of Ware map.
I'd say after I've been there. I've cut brush in there. So where is it? Are they showing it?
Well, it's no,
It should be over near the end of the pond here somewhere, because it's,
well, maybe it's in the pond. That's
No.
happened before.
Where exactly is Colby Road, up the top?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So that's the pond that comes down, and Jim Dowd's property's in the back here.
Right here.
yeah, his is there.
That's his house.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the exact pond?
Well, it
This
says
is
this
it.
is the pond.
Right, so his house isn't in the
No.
pond.
No.
Yeah.
He's over in here
Yeah.
somewhere.
He's gotta be right on this side, he's right at the very back of the pond.
This road comes
Yeah,
in.
so there's existing
Yeah.
one-story cabin, there's a
That's
garage,
his place,
and
yeah.
a fenced-in garden.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
driveway is actually a right-of-way.
Yeah,
Because I looked at that land before he bought it, and I didn't buy it because I didn't want to have a right-of-way going into my property.
So that cemetery's up in here somewhere.
Close to
Yeah, it's right,
road.
it's right against the
Isn't
road.
that where they just built that new little white ranch house?
Yeah,
Oh, that's,
that little
there,
teeny white
it
house.
shows some rocks in
Yeah.
C note 9.
Yeah,
Nine's a reference
Yeah,
to the cemetery.
okay.
so
because
There it is.
Chapman's next door to them.
He's across the street, right?
No, Chapman's
No,
right
yeah.
at the bridge.
Goes around.
Right.
Chapman's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is Chapman,
yeah.
and then go on.
So
And
this is the
Redmond
new
and
house
Dion.
here. If this is Chapman's, that's that new house and
Mhm.
right there, right?
That
Which
must
is
be
right on
that
the
thing
pond.
that they're
well,
showing
he's up,
there.
Yeah.
they got the road coming right in by that cemetery,
Yeah.
Mm.
right up against it.
Hickman,
So where's the lot line adjustment?
That's what I'm trying to see.
It's this area here that they're doing lot line adjustments?
no, all right, it says parcel A, this says parcel B. And usually there's a
Parcel
note
A's in the
saying,
Parcel A's in the pond.
Yeah, it's in the pond.
That can't be right.
So that's not the new
412.
driveway. That new driveway is on that side.
One
that he
sixty-six and
sold
one
it.
sixty-seven.
oh, 167, 166.
Adjust the lot lines between tax map 412 lots 161 into subdivide lot 166 into 2 residential lots.
How can you do that when you're
It's
showing
all
it in the
pond.
pond?
Well, it counts as lot acreage, I suppose.
Yeah, but you can't build in it. Can't build in the pond. And then you got a buffer around the water, so.
Why is this
That's a
so
really-
confusing? I mean, where's the comment saying who goes, all right, here we go. Lot 167 loses 48,000 square feet, which is parcel A. So 167 loses parcel A.
Which is all in the pond.
And why are they making parcel A just a little trail? What's the motive there?
166 gains parcel A.
166 gains it. Okay.
I don't,
No, that,
So
but
they're
then there's,
wrong?
giving this to this lot here. Right?
look, there's two different things going on here, though. Parcel B is. That's confusing with this table, but it looks like they're playing around with 90,000 as well. So existing is,
Oh.
well, I
what-
presume that's parcel B.
So what they've done is if you look at the proposed over there, they're gonna have 5.5 acres.
yep,
They had to take land from parcel B to give to parcel A in order to get their 5 acres that they required to have.
Yeah, but parcel A, it's in the pond.
Yeah,
There's no place to build.
yeah, they're giving the pond square footage to parcel B, or vice versa.
Well, that just, right, to leave one, to create in 167 a lot of record.
So where is lot 167 going to be?
Well, it already exists, right?
I'm finding the
167's
plan very
this,
confusing.
168 is,
166.
oh, 66 is this. So where's the,
So that TBR line there, is
To
that what they're
be
giving? Just that
removed.
part to 167, is that what they're doing there? They're not giving all of that?
that line's the same.
Doesn't make any sense that they're just giving pond land, it's
It's not
it's
buildable.
wetland and because that's all swampy,
It's
Yeah.
almost a formality that they're giving that
This is
lot
kinda
line
screwy.
to give it enough
to give it enough for the acreage.
for a buildable.
Yeah.
But where would you build?
There's nothing to
They
build
got
on.
one little tiny
There's
spot they
parcel
possibly
B, and
could.
parcel A is all in the pond,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, that's all in the
And
pond.
this is the line for this piece, this house sits on, right? Isn't this their line, boundary line?
Yeah, it comes all the way down here, though.
No, this is
Limited wetland
That's-
delineation.
That's a
That
really,
makes no sense.
that line doesn't mean much.
No.
How?
So Chapman's is right at the bridge and the outlet water from across the street comes right through Chapman's along and it borders the new guy that built the house right on the water.
And that would be all those, that wetland coming across there,
Yeah.
right? That's
Right.
that one.
Yeah.
So this is the new one right there, right? That's the new parcel.
So they're gonna have to share Jim Dow's? No.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it doesn't tell
you can
you
do
that. Where's it say parcel?
But look at it, there's an effluent disposal
Lot
area when there's no house there.
166-1.
And then, what's that
And there's a
area?
well radius.
Okay,
4,000.
That's that's
A
the
4K
box,
box for
yeah, for the
disposal.
EDA, and that's a new well. So that, I mean, that's where they're going with it.
This doesn't make any sense, though.
Where's
See, it
the-
wasn't on the front one here, which is
So
kind of,
where's the frontage for that lot?
There isn't any.
it's a back lot, so they're getting it up
Back lot.
this
over.
is the
Coming
right
in
away
on the
here.
road, right here.
Yeah, on Jim Dow's Road.
He's just gonna, if it isn't there, he's gonna
Yeah.
extend it to
But
this.
Jim Dow's Road is a right-of-way.
Right, so it's a shared driveway.
It's, he doesn't own that right-of-way. He has the rights to it.
Who does it benefit?
Well, it benefits him, because that's how he gets to his house.
Right.
Is that giving this parcel A here, is it taking it down here? Is that parcel A, looks like it came
It
all the way
looks to
around?
me like it's just trying to say now that this parcel has frontage over here.
Well, it's
Isn't
on
that
the
what, is
water.
that what it's trying to say?
Yeah.
They would need, that's probably.
Is
would
that the
be
whole
done.
purpose of this?
Yeah.
Is to say, all right, now this lot has frontage on,
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
what
in
they're
the
doing.
pond. It's in the middle of the pond.
Doesn't matter though. They
Really?
got, so they got the frontage and then they're gonna use this for the access.
Really?
Yep, that's what's going on. That's exactly it.
That's pushing it.
That's crazy.
that's,
But you don't have, yeah, but you don't have to have frontage if you have back
Now,
property.
what is this
You don't have
on
to
the
have
first
frontage,
page?
do you?
well, you're not,
Yeah, it's a landlocked lot
you're not
otherwise.
buildable.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
if you don't have
no, 'cause
frontage.
he's-
But I thought the town ordinance didn't allow weird-shaped lots.
You can't create a lot that doesn't, a new lot doesn't have frontage. So they're creating a lot that has frontage, but getting at it through a right of way.
That's-
On a shared driveway, so this,
That is really
amazing.
That's pushing the envelope,
That's
but,
pushing.
Yeah.
but
Especially that whole area has got so much wetness.
Oh,
But that's what they're doing, he's right.
No, it's just, there's no wetlands down through here, right?
So Naomi, is that right? If you have a right-of-way,
well,
Right away, you don't know. So the acreage, you have to have at least 50 feet of frontage on the Black Slide Road.
And that's what they've done.
That's what they've done.
Wow. Boy. think planning board's gonna approve that?
Are they showing this as just this property on the first page?
No,
No, they're showing it that it's there, existing. And they're showing the right-of-way here. Where is the lot line adjustment? Because they're on both pages.
it's cloudy.
Yes, it's very
Is that
clear.
already there? If you look at the, tax map.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You're-
Well,
I'd
I
have to
know,
sit
they're
in
trying
front,
to,
I'd have to sit in front of this plan for an hour and literally scrutinize every note and try to figure out what they're trying to do exactly.
well, they're trying to
Well-
meet the ordinances that they have 50-foot of frontage.
Right,
So,
How they got it doesn't make sense.
no. Because I thought the town enacted an ordinance saying
Lot
that these
16
odd-sized lots to get around wetlands and different things like
Yeah,
that.
so that's
is
what
not
it
gonna
is,
be
look.
allowed.
it's already
It's not already there.
167, 166.
So they're moving this
You have
over.
to have a 50-foot right-of-way
They're
into a
moving
parcel like
167
that.
over to get this.
Yeah.
They are giving up
But
this.
But this
who's
one-
gonna
Because
grant,
the rest
But
of
this
it's already
road
down
must be
to
a
here.
50-foot
Yep.
right-of-way. If it's a shared road
And then they're
driveway.
subdividing, this
it's
is
not
a new
well, it only
subdivision
benefits
line.
Jim Dow right now.
Yeah, this,
Well,
it's the only
That's,
access is for
that's,
Jim.
That's
this
it.
whole thing's a new subdivision line.
That is, yeah, that is it. Here's the tax map. That's exactly what it is.
Man, that's,
So,
and who
It's
is
hard to
trying to
follow, yeah.
subdivide this?
Jim,
Jim, yeah. He already sold a piece on the other side of the pond last year. That was a long, narrow
Strip.
strip, and somebody built there apparently. But this is really pushing it.
Well, he must have somebody working for him.
that's, all right, so this, it's like, I wish I
Where
could see it
Francisco.
without, I wish I could see it without this line.
Hmm.
And
We
then that
can-
would be pretty clear.
Right here. I mean, it's,
Well, I mean, I wish a plan showed it. This is, we have to go back.
It shows it. It shows his right of way
Yeah,
coming in,
yeah, well,
and it shows there's no lines in between any of those lots. That's one big lot. That used to be a 35-acre lot.
but that's shown, that's not a right of way. That's shown as a fee ownership as part of that lot.
it's part of 166.
Yeah,
You'd have to look at the deeds.
you
then
would, yeah, yeah,
To see if that was, he might have purchased that strip.
yeah.
Because when I looked at that land back in the early 90s, that was a right of way.
So right now, it's shown as
Yeah,
part of that
50-foot
lot, though. It
right-of-way.
doesn't show
It
different.
wasn't owned by the lot. It was, the lot was in the back
Back.
and the right of way, but I don't
Came
know where the
into-
frontage was.
So,
Probably, he's got 50 feet at the edge of the road, where the road is.
he's got it over here,
Probably got so
though.
many feet on either side of that to make the 50-foot.
Mhm.
He's got frontage up in here, too. But, so let's go on the assumption that that is part of this lot, then that's just a shared driveway. He doesn't even,
He doesn't know.
I mean,
Just wants
the
a
shared
separate lot
driveway
to-
for
a
that
kid to
big of a lot
build
is
the house back
allowed,
here.
right? I mean, it's not a
So
problem.
if you're gonna share a driveway, why do you have to have a 50-foot?
Because you don't have a, you can't create a non-conforming lot, I think it's,
Yeah,
and this is creating a new lot.
because
So
that
that
lot
this
would
can
have
be
no
under
frontage.
separate ownership.
Yeah.
Might be a relative, might be unrelated, but you can imagine a relative who says, oh yeah, just use a driveway, you get over there, you got your place, that's cool. And to achieve that, this subdivision has to.
So-
And that, then that's, the connect-
Do they have all the buffers on there and the setbacks and everything?
no.
Excuse me, there is a message for you.
They would be on the next page, wouldn't they?
Were there any wetlands delineated in that lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this. That area was delineated. And do we have a key? There's our key.
So I mean, this is all
Excuse me,
wetland
there is a message for
up
you.
into here. I mean, how are they even getting over into that?
have to put a road.
Because the buffer, you know, you can't, the buffer's gonna, so they're not showing the buffer here, they don't have access to that without breaking the buffer. See between here and here? I mean, there's no way, all right, see, you
Well,
driving
I
in
guess they
here,
could put the house over here.
that's all wetland.
Oh, that's all wetland too.
It's all wetland, the whole thing's blocked up by
Yeah.
wetland.
That's what
There's
it looks.
wetland there, wetland there, wetland there,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
It's all
insane.
swampy back there that,
yeah.
How are you
it's-
gonna put a house in then?
I don't know.
I would just say there's so much wetland in there, they need to show the buffer, they need to show the 50-foot setback to buildings, they need to consider, is this even 75 feet? It might be, that might be 75 feet.
On a 100 scale,
Yeah,
if this was printed, yeah.
so that looks okay. Maybe, it's close.
It's probably right at 75,
Yeah.
3/4 inch there. And over here, it's probably 3/4 inch there. And up here, that's more,
I don't wanna live back
So I mean,
there.
you know, it.
but it
if we have-
doesn't. All right, and this is the 50-foot. Half inch more or less. Yeah, so they show the 50-foot setback, they don't show the 25-foot. 50-foot for the building envelope. Proposed well. How about the proposed driveway?
Aren't they crossed on a wetland, or is that all existing?
Those buildings way out back there, that's all his existing buildings, so that's a big parking area.
But where it touches onto the new lot,
Yeah,
it looks like it's beyond the
been
sun.
back there enough to notice.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's awfully gray. It's a super gray area, very dark gray. I mean, I don't know.
Sure is creative.
Yeah.
Leave it to Craig, yeah.
what are the potentials for down the road with having that? How wide is that strip at the bottom of the plan?
I don't know.
This here,
Probably 25 feet.
25,
Potential.
1/4 inch.
Yeah.
The thing is with, and it probably doesn't matter, it's just my opinion, but, I mean, if you're gonna fill up every square inch of the world, then why do we have all these zoning laws and everything else? If we can do stuff like that, why don't we just throw the book away and let everybody do what they want?
Well, I'm just kinda concerned that all of this wetland stuff in here, is that actually super accurate? I mean, should somebody like Tom Carr be going in there to look at that?
They did,
You have a professional.
It did.
but they don't have the buffer. The problem is, they can't get to this without getting a
Yeah.
variance for the buffer. I would just make that real clear comment, that they can't possibly get to it,
Without stepping over a buffer.
yeah, without getting through the buffer. Or it looks like, I would say it looks like, that they can't get to it. And they're not showing the buffer, they need to show it. But it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Laws are hard, you know. I mean, we make a fuss about certain laws, but then after that, you kind of wonder if, I don't know. It's hard. I guess it's like in racing. If there's a rule, try to get around it.
The gray area.
Well, I think it's just, the presumption of frontage for a lot is.
In a pond.
To provide access to the lot.
Right.
On a legitimate road.
Right,
That's in a pond.
it's in a pond.
You get there by boat.
Not in the wintertime.
Well, you
In
can ice
snowmobile.
skate. You can ice skate or get a snowmobile, one or the other.
The thing is, that side of the pond, I thought that was on the property he just sold to someone. There's a long strip of property he sold on that side of the pond.
Yeah, his driveway's right there.
There was
Right there
almost
on
no
the edge.
buildable land there. So if those people are abutting that pond, then how the heck do you get a lot in between the two?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, because it's in the center of the pond, is that
Right, but
lot line adjustment, so,
he owned all the land,
yeah.
and he subdivided that lot on the other side of the pond, and how do we cut a strip down the middle of it now? That's what they're doing?
Yeah, but did he sell the land at the shoreline?
Well, they put
And
a
he kept the
dock there, and
pond.
they got a jet ski there,
Yeah, and he
Those
kept the
people?
pond.
in that
Maybe
little
it's
pond.
the use of it.
Jet ski on that one?
Yeah,
It's a swamp.
I know,
Canoes, he's got canoes, a nice aluminum dock.
I know.
Yeah.
But technically, if you look at that lot line, those people don't even have that access. because
Correct.
That thing cuts it. I don't understand any of that.
Yeah.
It's very confusing at best. And I usually can understand these things pretty quick.
You know, it's interesting, you're right, looking at the tax map, not the tax maps are any good, but this line right here, I mean, just looking at the pond, it almost seems like it's,
Something's not right.
yeah. But, I mean, Craig, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's a reach, but sometimes you can pull it off. And then what's legitimate to one person is.
And I was so timid when I was building houses and stuff to do everything perfect and right. I'm learning a lot now.
Yeah.
Hire the right engineer, you can do what you want, as long as you can sleep at night.
Well, yeah, it's not gaming the system if it's legit. But I don't know what level of review that goes through and I would just straight face say, what was the purpose of frontage? What was the purpose of the frontage requirement? If I was trying to oppose it. I'm not trying to oppose it.
Right.
I don't, maybe in the, but it would seem like
Has that
knowingly
access.
showing frontage, that is water, stretches it,
Yeah.
stretches it. You know, and, yeah, it's,
One of those little cars that goes on the road or.
it's a curious one.
I can't remember the name of them, but they were little,
Amphicars.
yeah.
Suppose if the owner bought a Sherp, he could,
Sure, could do
yeah,
it.
he could drive in and out every day.
The pond might not be there forever. It does require
Be a,
some dam
be a
maintenance.
bugger though when it gets frozen with the
Yeah.
car.
Slides.
Oh, boy.
Does anybody want to re-up membership of the New Hampshire Timberlands Association?
Didn't they pay for us?
Didn't,
Notice I paid that?
We have,
I thought we
we
joined
double
that.
paid once, so typically we said, hey, Jerry, what do you think? You bill us for it and make sure we're squared away there. Because, one year he did it, one year I did it, same year.
So should we just text them?
Yeah.
Um,
All right, that does it for plans, folks.
Okay.
Did you make some notes, Andy?
Notes for.
Oh, he thought you were doing
for
it.
planning board.
How can I see what you're talking about?
Notes for planning board, notes for minutes, notes for
No,
what?
no,
No, no.
notes just for that plan.
Yes, yeah, I will share them on the
I wouldn't even know.
reverse of what I use, the scrap paper, so yes, I will pass those in tonight. But you said that one's not subject to further discussion until August.
The one you just did?
Yeah.
And August at planning board, it was continued. correct?
I was just looking at the house you're talking across the pond.
Yeah.
There's a $625,336 assessment.
That's
That
the one
doesn't
right
mean
against
much
the
to-
pond.
in
One you
this
can't
day and
see,
age.
yeah, the one you can't see.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
All right, let's turn,
2 mailboxes in.
swerve our way into the woods.
Maybe they've got a, you know, a
All
big box
right.
or something out there.
You ready for some note-taking, Naomi? Because this is gonna be a doozy.
You went to the forestry?
Yeah. Okay, so we had kind of a recent effort to clean up these forestry service agreements, which we realized we have not been encumbering. So I made a real effort the last couple days to figure out what was out there and how we're gonna fix it. And it looks like we've just got one bill from a previous fiscal year's forestry service agreement. But I guess my understanding would be, I think we probably need to vote on it tonight as if it was an expenditure from 2022 because we failed to encumber it. And that would be, we've got a bill for the Felch Farm Forest Management Plan, which we received a final, so I don't know if anyone got to look at that I emailed around. I mean, it looked pretty good to me. And so the bill is for $6,994.56. Because we had some discussion back and forth with Jeremy, and I think confirmed, I think it was with Naomi, that when we sign these things, now we're having them end at the end of the fiscal year unless we encumber them. So we've done that in the distance past, and then we just let it slip. So I want to make a motion tonight out of the 2022 Town Forest Management appropriation to pay the $6,994.56 from the Town Forest account for the completed Felch Forest Management Plan.
Second?
What's the number on that one? The invoice number?
2020-002FF. And the date it was invoiced was 7/11/22. So we'll present that for payment if this passes.
I'm sorry, 6,000, what's the change? Total amount?
6,994.56.
All right, we got a motion to assent to paying this invoice out of Town Forest against the 2022 allotment. Made by Steve, seconded by Sherry. Any further discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
All in favor?
All right, now I gotta get the calculator back out. So we had a billing error. Let me just go back to this. Oh, 6,994.56, right?
Correct.
Okay, we got 6,248, 2,500. Then 2,340. So, trying to track where we're at. So we got 6,248 plus 2,500 All right, so far we spent 15,742.56, which is, we're in a lot better shape than we previously thought we were. Let me see if I'm missing something here. Oh, wait, there's another 6 there. Sorry about that. So it's 21,742.56. Okay, so, and then we've got we have a small bill for the hourly, just for that town forest walk that we did the other day. But, so we've got a little more than $8,000 left on the appropriation, so we gotta be really careful of not exceeding that. We have, did I not bring it?
Does it become a question of whether we kick the can down the road on some of the forestry agreement stuff in front of us?
No, we're good now. We only got one left. That was my initial read, but no. I had a
The
printer.
one left, is that boundary work
Yes,
on new acquisitions?
yeah.
New 20,
Is that
we did roll into, no, they were 2021 acquisitions.
That was on the,
Courtney? County Road? Is that-
no, I think we already got one signed for county. Where is this thing hiding? Printed the wrong one twice, just
The
impressive.
one on county, he's gonna delay marking one of the boundaries because there's still a question, or is it because of the other, abutter? What I read on the email.
We got,
Yeah, we have to
gotta talk
step back
about
on
that.
that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Separate conversation, but yeah.
I'm just trying to dig through my. Let's see if this all right, if this all right, here we go. Let's see if this is the right one. No. iPhones do that. Do you have that on yours? It's looking for the one that's 005. Let me see if I got it in this Dropbox thing. I do. Good. Okay, so. This is for boundary maintenance, Barden lot, Hardwick lot, and County lot.
All right, so it is written up for all three.
Yeah. 2,340 plus materials. So that's one we deferred for some reason. Before that one wasn't signed.
Something to do with the dating, if I recall.
Did they was that the one where they had the typo in there on the, yeah, we had the
Yeah.
date issue. So we fixed this, now this one says, remain in effect until December 31st, 2022 to comply with town procedure and will require renewal for the year of 23. It really means encumbered to allow for completion of work A. So it just has to get encumbered. Let me forward that to you. Do we have any way of printing something off a phone, Naomi?
No, it would have to be downloaded to that.
I mean, can you, if I text it to you, can you print those?
Not from my phone.
Or send it to your email?
Let me try that. Let's see if I can.
How do I do that? There we go. Share. Export file. Okay, I just sent it to you. So if we could, make a motion for $2,340 for FSA 2022-005FF out of the town forest account for boundary line maintenance on 3 town forest. So yeah, I guess that's my motion.
Second. Sounds good.
You said boundary line maintenance. This is a new one, so do we want to say blazing?
No, they have it written up as maintenance. Some of them are maintenance. I mean,
Okay.
but I'm just following what they were saying in their thing.
Okay.
'Cause I mean, they're still,
Now,
we're having major sound issues. No voices, just hear some odd buzz, motor sound. It's from Wendy.
well, that's too bad.
I wonder if it's picking that thing up.
Seems pretty quiet.
Maybe try shutting this one.
Thanks.
Huh.
All
Yeah,
right, so Steve made a motion. We have a second on it?
Ray.
seconded it.
Right. And I think on discussion, yeah, no idea how to check our sound. That's great. Andy doesn't answer texts, I know him too well. That's Steve will notice.
yeah.
So, Naomi, any idea how to make the sound work better over the broadcast, or is this something that's
Last
been?
night, because of the storm,
Oh,
All right, so
something
it
else
is
screwed up.
something that's been,
last night, the ZBA never, took, it was live, but because of the storm before we got here, and then this morning, the fire alarm was beeping when I got here.
So
all right, so it sounds beyond us.
Yeah.
they can't hear what we're saying?
It's not coming through clearly, correct.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so in discussion on this, any reason not to approve this one based on not having resolved the abutter claim that looks to impact the county lot acquisition for farm forest?
No, 'cause they're doing work on
Work's
3
already
different
been
lots.
done, right?
Yeah, I mean, the survey work has been done, so we need to discuss that after these FSAs.
All
but-
right, so that's a
No, just
no.
approve it, yeah.
Any other concerns, thoughts on these? All right, there being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That's all in favor.
See if technology worked.
That'd be awesome if it did. If not, Andy will have to figure it out.
Oh, did you mean to authorize Andy to sign that?
We'll approve it. I mean, yeah.
Okay,
No, I mean, if we approve it, you sign it.
works for me.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. There you go.
Somehow I printed it twice.
Oh, good. There you go. So we can sign that, we'll scan it and send it.
Send it in error.
All right, so we've got one other forestry service agreement. I guess I've got concerns with it, and don't really want to approve it without doing a walk.
You're not alone in that, so why don't you spell it out?
Okay, so the northern side of Eastman on the, kind of the, so Eastman hits 114 on the town line. And then it runs along the town line all the way back to the railroad tracks to the east, the old railroad tracks to the east. And so on this forestry service agreement, I mean, they're talking about, you know, if they went ahead and got a state driveway permit and want to pound a skid trail up through there and put a log landing in there somewhere. And, I mean, I know Eastman fairly good from walking around there. I guess my concern is the north side of the unit of Eastman has, it has a black gum swamp, but also up in that area where they're talking about coming through, there's a bunch of vernal pools in there, and it's all oak forest. So I'm concerned with the idea of pounding a new road, and so we really want to look at like what we're proposing to harvest in there. And to me, like, I mean, harvesting is one thing, we can buffer vernal pools, but, you know, roads and big log landings are more of a permanent impact. Just wondering what the cost benefit is going out that direction versus just, if we are even gonna harvest up in there, just make it all come back to 77. I know it's a long skid,
Oh, it's a long haul.
or punching the land, I mean,
That's what forwarders are for.
yeah, I mean,
Forwarders, no problem, pick up the material and just walk it out. They don't have to skid it. A lot of people have forwarders.
yeah. So I
Is
just
there
can't,
a way to come in from Ruffled Road? All those lots must have butt,
not that we have rights to. That's all Henniker.
yeah, but I didn't know if there was some open land where somebody would give permission to go into Eastman from Ruffled Road in like a vacant lot or something.
Yeah, you still end up with the log landing issue. So anyhow, I mean, I guess the other part of this that I don't like is I don't have, that paragraph kind of got to thinking about it and bothered me, because it seems like this is more of a heavy-duty construction project getting up in there.
Well, you
So-
just look at it at the road, you're gonna have to fill in 8-10 feet to just get from the base at the bottom of the road embankment up to grade, up to
Yeah,
the road. It's,
Well,
not insignificant there.
But it's not in.
And then the interior, you know, log landing and all the equipment work and turnarounds and stuff like that's substantial.
It really boils down to dollars and cents, because if you were a private landowner and it wasn't conservation land and you wanted to get all your money out of the lot, you'd probably do that. But do we have to? Does it need to be managed?
Well,
You have to
There's
do
gotta be
that?
some good-sized timber up in there.
Well, there is, but if you're gonna destroy, like, you have concerns doing
Right.
permanent roads and landings, is it worth taking it and putting the money into the account, or is it just leave it?
This, in 20 years is something I don't think we've done.
no, I mean, so we've put
So-
log landings in, but not like this.
A brand-new access point to a substantial parcel is a rather significant undertaking.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And Matthias and Jeremy have pointed out that the expense of it can be handled within the harvest itself. It comes off the top, you're not outlaying, so you're limiting your,
Profits.
your income on it, sure. But his point is, you don't have the income if you can't access that, so, yeah, it comes out in the wash, and it provides potentially a recreational opportunity that's not there now.
Mhm.
Positives, but I see some substantial potential negatives to it.
It
and
opens up the land to people that are gonna go in there that shouldn't be there, probably.
Good.
Potentially, I mean, I was thinking about this last night, it is a well-traveled road, it's not the sort of place that's all of a sudden going to have a clandestine rush of additional ATV traffic from 114.
Well, you can't,
But
they can't have
from
motorized
the other
vehicles.
side, if you build it, they'll go there. There certainly could be more coming down from Pine Hill and crossing, I think there's a crossing over where the old rail grade was, and then coming up, and you can certainly explore more on your ATVs if
But-
you now have your network of logging roads and a log landing to,
But motorized vehicles aren't allowed on that property.
but we can't police ATVs. They're there, and, you know,
If you improve it, they'll come.
Yeah.
Well, so in any event,
We know that.
yeah.
there's a lot going on that north side. There's also a beaver pond, and I'm just wondering, like, you know, could you even just put the log landing right off the end of Pine Hill Road where you have access through there? And then we need to really talk about with this harvest, you know, what's gonna happen to the existing trails. They did a pretty good job last time they were in there keeping stuff off the trail, but I'd like to do a walk in there.
What's the heat on for?
Uh,
What heat?
Oh, you just heard it come on, yeah.
Furnace.
Well, you got it pretty cool in here, so maybe it
The
kicked on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if it gets to 65,
Go-
it probably
go
kicks
ahead,
on
Steve.
automatically.
Let's bring it back.
All right. So the bottom line is, I don't like the way the current FSA is written. I don't really want to, I'm suggesting that we don't do this before there's a site walk to talk about what exactly we're doing. So I'd just as soon try to line something up
Yeah,
for, to go out there and walk around.
yeah, sounds good.
I think that's a logical next step. I shared some reservations. Frankly, it was brought to my attention that if you're going to, as a commission, authorize and create a substantial change, then maybe it would be worth some legwork beforehand so that folks in town potentially even could mull it over themselves, as in a hearing or something, just to discuss a potential substantial, and then as I was thinking, a substantial change to the access way. And then I was wondering if there's anything on that that would be of concern to the easement holder on it either.
If you built, if you did that, develop that landing and did an area like that, could that contribute to what we're trying to do for a trail system?
There's
Yeah,
a
it
positive
could-
on that
it
side,
could,
sure.
yeah.
Parking area for cars, and then people could walk that, and then we could say, okay, we're improving the trail system? I don't know.
No, I don't think you're gonna get a new parking area because of the easement. But,
So there's another level of interest in the parcel that I'm not sure that Matthias has taken, or started a conversation.
I can't imagine, I'm just thinking like, how much work would this even take to get tractor trailers up in there? That's what I'm like,
How far is it from Russell Road, though? Going that in, how far are you?
Russell?
where's Russell Road?
Ruffle, rather.
Well, it's right, Ruffle Road's right there.
Right. So isn't it close to abutting that end? No, it's in a ways?
No, that's in Henniker, there's all houses.
Well, you'd have Ruffled Road, and then you'd have lots potentially on the side of
I
Ruffle
think
Road, and then
Ruffled
your
is-
town line is right there.
I think
So-
all the lots are built out, I don't.
Probably, I've never been up there.
Yeah, I haven't been out in there for a long time.
Yeah. But we're not coming through there. I mean, it's either, he's talking about.
I mean, it's
Pond
one thing if it was, French land, it's already, in forestry with the landing, like we did up in the northeast Pine Hill corner, but the northwest corner doesn't have that same abutter.
Yeah, we were able to go up to. So, let's try to schedule something. I'm just not comfortable with it.
Spray
Table that for
yourself with
further
a.
discussion.
I think we
I
need to
had-
get eyes on
I
it
had
as a
14
commission, yeah.
Ear ticks on me.
Yeah.
And I ended up with one embedded in
Yeah,
the back of my leg.
yeah. They are there.
Mm.
All right,
Then
I
we-
agree with you on that, Steve. I think we're all nodding our
Wait.
heads. We don't
Wait and see if we can walk up in
need to
there.
belabor that, but suggest what we would like to do as a next step is to do some
Alright.
ground truthing.
Yeah, maybe, try to get something lined up. So then we got, hopefully Naomi steps back in. I wrote that short note to send to Laura, kind of for the next step. I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody liked that note or wants to change the note, and I guess that would come from either us or Naomi to Laura, but just get forwarded along.
Yeah, when they're this close, it's always probably a good idea to talk about it in meeting, but, if we weren't so close to a meeting, it's probably just fine as, information gathering to pass things along. So I think her recommendation was essentially, if you got a non-responsive,
Resident.
claimant, then talk to me about it and we'll draft the logical next step up.
Yeah, so he was non-responsive.
Yeah, but have we gone ahead with the certified mail? Return receipt
How'd you send
requested?
it to him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to do a
Right.
certified.
Would have
Let's
to
go
be
certified mail
certified, yeah.
first. And then either deny that he didn't pick it up, or,
I don't think there's anything that says it has to be.
Yeah.
The water certified is unclaimed. So if you don't get the other one back, you only get the regular one. Just 'cause you don't claim it.
Well, wouldn't that be part of what the opinion we're looking for from from Laura? Or did she already say that that's what you
She's
should
been
do?
on vacation, I know we've missed each other a couple times.
Yeah.
She just got back Monday
I,
with a long list to catch up.
yeah,
Because we sent them the whole report electronically with the email, right? Andy?
and all our interaction prior to had been email. So it's not like we're starting afresh. He had emailed several times, and there'd been some back and forth earlier. But if Laura, if she's just gonna say, well, you should have, the next thing to do is obvious, why don't you send it by US Postal, then we can ask Naomi to print and attach a letter that the chair has crafted and signed
Yeah,
and
the word
drop them in the mail.
And we've covered all the bases. And if we have to proceed further from there, we've covered our bases.
I don't think it matters from a legal perspective, because, I mean, you try to contact, either way, I mean, you just get her advice on what is next, you know? I mean, they could even draft a letter as the town's attorney and send it to them.
Yeah.
That might even
Yeah.
be better, you know?
It might hold a little more weight.
Yeah,
See how there was no response to the first letter?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, just send it right from them. I mean, you're gonna spend more money doing that, but however they wanna do it, let's just do it and keep moving. So hard to keep these things moving when we meet once a month, and we're not really supposed to do business by email, you know, so.
Mm.
Good point. So I think it a good idea to send that email along to Laura.
Yeah, so if Naomi, if everybody's good, you just, Naomi send it along to
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah,
And ask her to draft a follow-up, send it.
Ask her what, I mean, that just thing kind of basically says, what do you want to do, you know, tell us what to do. Yeah, if you can tell, I mean, I think it would be best to either have them send something, or have them create something for the Board of Selectmen to sign and send it, but I don't know, she's the attorney, I'm not.
So
All right,
basically, you're trying to find out if he agrees to it or not, right? He hasn't responded either way,
Yeah,
whether
he
he
didn't
agrees to
respond.
it or not.
I mean, if he wants
Well-
to start spending money on it, basically, you know.
he brought it to our attention.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you're still interested in it, there's an abundant way, an easy way to follow it and say, oh, you know, town of, did you want to get back to me? Because I need your response to my claim.
Yep.
And we gave the response. It hasn't been officially acknowledged, but we have just as much reason to believe it has been received as it hasn't been received.
So one of two things is gonna happen anyhow. Either he's gonna sign a boundary line agreement, or we're gonna go and it's gonna, quiet title. I mean, either way, something's gonna end up in the registry of deeds to put an end to it, one way or the other.
But this time for not that.
Yeah, it's better to not go, I mean, an agreement would be nice, to save everybody some money.
All right. And Naomi just informed us that Laura has plenty from the town aware to work through.
Yeah,
So,
'cause I've been-
so we wouldn't anticipate,
I mean,
a
she's working
rapid
away at it.
response.
I sent her stuff all that week she was gone,
Yeah.
and I'm sure I'm not the only client.
Not a crisis,
But we
nothing
would,
going on.
we'd hope to not drop it, have something we can, if we need discuss or decide to do that next month. Is that a reasonable expectation as far as it looks at this point? Subject to whatever may happen?
So I stepped out to turn the heat off. Did you do anything with that last step I saved, or?
We're gonna hold it, and we're gonna try to schedule a site walk.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to call Tebow, by the way? Remember we talked about that last,
I'm
meeting?
gonna have to, cause I've got a trapping permit up there, and so.
All right. We're scraping
It
here.
saves money, so.
Anything else?
Good.
I'll pass for a second.
Where do we stand, Naomi, with bids on asbestos assessment?
We've been back and forth, but I wrote in the email, I spent the last few weeks down here studying. And that's Seaside one versus today, so I'm back upstairs.
Maybe, just maybe, there could be some, maybe.
If you did.
Won't even say it.
Yeah, I stopped in there a couple weeks ago, and there was a cuckoo right around the camp.
Mhm.
You hear them around your house at all?
There was a what?
Cuckoo, yellow-billed cuckoo.
Oh,
Yeah, you can hear
There's enough of them around.
it. The ones in the woods, though.
We've got a healthy population.
I had one around my house, too. That's not surprising, right?
They got us
You
cornered.
said it.
Yeah. All right, folks, going once.
Motion to adjourn.
We got a motion.
second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, 9:10, we be done.
You gotta sign, scan that, and email